was thinking, how much does it pay?
Here we go.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Colorado Railroad Museum and the Galloping Goose excursion. Sorry, it's a little early for me. I can't talk today. My name is Faye. I'll be your host for this excursion. I'll tell you a little bit about the goose, and I'll point out some things of interest in the museum grounds that you might not have seen yet. How many are here for the first time? Okay, and the rest of you have been here, what, 100 times? There's a guy in the back that nodded seriously. Anyway, Otto Mears built 3 railroads out of Silverton to service the silver mines in Colorado in the late 1890s. Unfortunately, right about the time he finished, the U.S. government went from a silver standard to a gold standard, which devalued silver, and many of the silver mines then went broke. And RGS began running in the red. But they still had the mail contract from the U.S. Post Office, and that paid them a fair amount of money. But they found that in order to keep the contract, you had to run a daily train. Well, running one of the larger engines with its crew and its fuel, it was pretty expensive. So somebody at the workshop got the great idea to take a Pierce Arrow, stick a Buick 6 engine in it, and turn it into kind of a rail car. And the first Galloping Goose was born. Cost of about $800 and change to build it, and it paid for itself in a little over 2 weeks. It was so successful that they right away disassembled it and made Goose number 2, and later Goose number 6. Goose 2 through 7 were built in the early 30s, 1931 through 36. There are 7 goose, geese, 7 geese, gooses. Anyway, after a while, the post office, roads got better, cars got better. The post office discovered it was more efficient for them to deliver mail by truck. So once again, the Rio Grande Southern was in trouble. But during the Depression, the mines around Rico started producing pitch blende, uranium ore. And the geese began hauling pitch blende for the Manhattan Project. Now, the Manhattan Project, of course, was classified at the very highest levels. So high, in fact, that when then Vice President Harry Truman was looking into government expenditures and started asking questions, the Secretaries of State and Defense both told him, "I'm sorry, Mr. Vice President, you don't need to know that. It's a need-to-know basis only." Vice Presidents got no more respect back then than they do today.
Like when we got it in 1985.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Wow.
Is there more than one of these, or is this it?
There are actually there's 7 of them, including this one. Yeah.
Do you have them all here?
One is written up. We have 3 of them here. The rest of them
want me
I'll
to hold that
explain
for
as we
you?
go
Oh,
around
no,
with the rest of them out.
I'm done with it.
Look at this, Landon. This was before
So
they
what were
rebuilt
these used for?
I know, but
Well, I'll get into that. I'll get into the
that
whole
crashed.
thing. It was
I didn't know that crashed.
I don't think it crashed. It just was a.
Her husband's
just,
a railroad
just went to
buff,
pieces,
so
yeah.
we have to come home with.
Inside it
I have to
looks
come home with
What was it for?
information.
I don't know.
This one used to
He
be
probably
covered.
knows.
Yeah.
We're full, so we'll be leaving now. Gotcha.
This is neat. And it starts like a car.
I love it.
Oh, that's fun.
No, I bet he's never done that.
I don't think so. Not with me, at least.
Order 7 clear to go. 7 out.
What great timing, man.
Quite sure about that.
How you do video on this? I know there's a way.
Oh, that's where the birthday party is.
On that train.
Oh, yeah. That'd be
Gotta make some noise.
There's a lot. They turn so loud when they want on
The condensed history of these. These ran on the Rio Grande Southern Railroad. The railroad that ran between Durango up through Telluride and to Ridgeway, Colorado. 1931, in the middle of the Depression, they were about broke, and the railroad was hauling passengers, fulfilling a scheduled passenger run, and the mail contract with a steam locomotive. They were averaging about 2 passengers a day over the entire line. Behind the steam locomotive, it got pretty expensive. So somebody came up with a bright idea. They took a Buick sedan, put a box on the back of it, put one guy to drive it, and they put their 2 or 3 passengers a day in there, plus the mail sacks. It was pretty cost effective. What it did, it had 1 man to operate it and eliminated 3 or 4 crew members, plus the maintenance was negligible compared to a steam engine. These things, all you had to do is put gas in them and turn the key. Go ahead, Red.
Yeah, operation pass the red flag without stopping, over.
And for proceed through without stopping. 7 out. So anyway, they ended up, the first one was so successful, they ended up building 6 more of them.
Wow.
And they basically kept the railroad going for about another 16 odd years. They still ran steam-powered freight trains and so on, but for the daily passenger haul and the mail contract, they all went to these. They had, at the height of everything, they had 4 of these running at the same time, 4 big ones. Now this worked out until the end of 1949. They lost the mail contract. So they decided to go into the excursion business. Originally, the front part was for passengers and the back was for freight and the mail. So what they did, they cut windows in the back and put trolley seats in the box compartment in the back and started hauling tourists. This went on for up through 1951. Wasn't enough to keep the railroad going, and it folded and they tore it up in 51, 52. Now there are 7 of these east left. We have 3 of them. There's 2 more over here, the number 6 and the number 2. There's one in Dolores, Colorado that operates. There's the number 1 replica, the number 1 and the number 3 are at Ridgeway, Colorado, and the number 4 is in Knott's Berry Farm in California. And out of that, out of the 7 that are left, 6 of them operate, and soon the 7th one will be operating.
Have you ever been on any of the others?
Oh yeah.
Do they operate pretty much the same way?
Yeah. One in Ridgeway, the one in California. We've had, in fact, we brought 2 of them up here 2 years ago. We brought the number 5 in Dolores and the number 1 up here to operate. So we had all 5 of them running around in a circle.
truck them up, or do they?
No, they truck them up.
Yeah. And then do you also engineer the steam engine that runs every once in a while too?
Yeah.
Mitchell, Goose 77, over.
What question?
Go ahead.
Mission, pass the red flag without stopping, 2 mile limits, over.
4, past the red flag.
Asking.
Does this thing run oil? Does this thing run oil?
Young man back here has a question for you.
Yes.
Does this thing run oil if it's when you go still?
It runs on oil?
Uh-huh. I don't know if it's runs
It runs on regular gas.
Yeah, it runs on regular unleaded. It's had 4 engines in it. It had a Pierce Arrow engine in it originally. Then they went to a Ford flathead V8. In the early 1940s, they put a war surplus GMC engine in it out of a half-track, military. That's what was in it. We got it. We couldn't find parts, and now it's got a '56 Chevrolet 6-cylinder.
Oh, here's the pictures. Here are those pictures. Okay, here we go.
We still have guns.